Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. So one thing I wanted to kind of mention before we got any further, I was watching my old videos and there was something I forgot to mention, which will make your lives a lot easier if you're using the mouse to control the game. And that is, if you go into, if you see how I'm changing the Z level here, currently I'm using my mouse to do this, I'm using the wheel of my mouse to do this, so rolling the mouse wheel towards me brings me up a Z level. Rolling it away from me goes down a Z level. It doesn't do that by default, but it's pretty easy to set up. You can go and press escape, go into your key bindings, go into general, and if you scroll all the way down to move cursor up Z, and if you change that to mouse 5 and move cursor down Z, change that to mouse 4, that'll do what you need. Either that or you can press shift and either comma or in period to move the Z levels up and down. So I just wanted to cover that before I went too much further. And, just to help anybody along who might not know how to do that or where to find it when they do want to change it. So carrying on with our fortress, we were digging out a nice little storage room / temporary living area for our dwarves here. And we will probably continue to do that. One of the other things I want to start looking into is setting up farming as well as housing for our egg-laying animals. So I think I will start in on that today as well. So we have a nice place for everybody to be inside. They're going to be sleeping on the ground, and that's going to make them a little cranky, but they'll be fine for the time being. So what we're going to do is we're going to start laying out our farms. And I'm going to have the farms on this level right here. And we're going to go out, say about, how far do we want to go? Have to make sure we stay in kind of the PD area of the map. So if we bring it out to here, and I want to have some fairly large farms, but they don't have to be too big. You can probably get by with a 5x5 farm on a reasonably sized fortress without harder farming. This is all without the harder farming in. Basically, harder farming, you just need much, much bigger farms. So we're going to do, say, 9x9 farms, I think. And we're going to set up 3 of these. Again, way bigger than they actually need to be, but go big or go home, right? So we go 3 farms. And then we need to put doors on them. So we'll go, you see that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So 3 wide doors. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Oops. Nope, not just like that, actually. And then we'll make sure that the hallway comes out deep enough to take care of that. Just like that. And now, one other thing we want is we want to set up a storage room close to these farms that will house our seeds. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another tiny room just off of these guys right here, and that'll be a storage room for our seeds. So let's let the dwarves get at that. It won't take them too long to dig out because, again, it's peat. It's fairly easy to dig through. What? Oh, we found some coal. Hopefully that doesn't screw up our farms too much. This first area looks like it's going to be okay. Now, that actually raises a interesting point I want to bring up. If you, for instance, you start in an area that doesn't have any soil, you can still do, speaking of, doesn't look like this is going to be the greatest place in the world for it. All right. We can work around that. Anyways, if you start an area without soil, though, you can still farm. However, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because what you need to do is you need to flood an area with water first. Let it get up to, I think it's 2 deep, but I could be wrong on that. It might not need to be quite that deep. That'll cover it with mud, and that will allow you to farm on rock, on soil, or on flooring tiles that aren't soil. Now, from the looks of things, this center area is going to be a little bit useless to us, so we might actually have to extend our farms in a different direction, which is fine. We're just going to see what this third area looks like after they dig it all out. We might have to repurpose these rooms for something else. Might actually turn these into chicken coops, because they're not going to be a whole lot of use for farming. Yeah, okay. Well, either way, we have at least one decent area for farming, so we might as well get that set up. Now what we do is we press, not P. What am I looking for again here? I think, is it under designations? I didn't think it was. No. Okay, so to build the farm, you're going to want to press B, and then go down to farm plot, which is P. And then to build a farm plot, you use UM, K, and H to set the size. So we want a nice 9x9, just like so. And that's going to be our first farm plot. And the person that has farming set up on as their job will come and take care of that for us. While he does that, we're actually going to work on setting up another hallway here. We'll try going down this time and turn that into our another farming area. So let's try doing, oops, not there. Here. I want to go out to a 9x9 here as well. And we'll try digging out this area and seeing if it's better for farming. Just like that. And we can put another door here just to make gathering seeds easy. Alright, and away they go. And we should see a dwarf come up here. Yep, there he is. And he's taking care of setting up the farm plots for us. As soon as he's done, we'll tell him to plant plum helmets there. And that'll get our farming industry on the go. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be a much better area, too, to do some farming. So that's good. What do we find over here? This is bauxite. That's a fairly new one, I think. Okay, so now that the farm's done, what we can do is we can set what it's going to grow in each of the 4 seasons. A is spring, B is summer. Why is it not... A is spring, B is summer. There we go, now it's moving. C is autumn, and D is winter. Now, we want this one to be growing plum helmets year-round. So what we do is on spring, we're growing plum helmets. In summer, we're growing plum helmets. Autumn, we're growing plum helmets. And in winter, just for a change of pace, we're going to grow some plum helmets. And that will make sure that we have lots and lots of food and drink for our dwarves to drink and eat. Mostly drink, though. And while they're doing that, we're going to build up another farm plot down here to grow some of the other plants that we brought with us. Because you want to definitely have a variety of booze. Dwarves get bored of booze pretty easily. And if all you ever have is one thing for them to drink, they're going to get unhappy. They're fairly ungrateful that way. So while we wait for him to come up, we need to work on building, digging out some more areas for our dwarves to set up in. Now, there's a few basic levels that you're going to need, or at least room types in your fortress you're going to need. You're going to need your storage room, which we have at least the basics of set up. You're going to need your dining hall, which is very important for dwarves because it's a very good way to control their mood so that they don't tantrum out of control on you. You're going to need your workshops, and you're probably going to want to devote multiple levels to that. And you're going to need a living quarters for your dwarves. And again, you're probably going to want multiple levels for that. Or if you're building a wide fortress, which is possible, then you're going to need to use... You're probably still going to want a level dedicated to living area. You can get up to 200 dwarves, and each one of them will want their own bedroom, essentially. And some dwarves will need better bedrooms than others. We'll get to those after we get into nobles. So let's go ahead and get our next level kind of planned out here. So first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead to the... and designate where the stairs are going to be, just so I know where I can and cannot build my my various rooms. So we'll just lay out all 4 stairways. Like so. Oops, there we go. Okay, so there's our 4 stairways laid out. So it just gives us kind of a floor plan to work with. And I think the first thing we're going to build is our dining hall. It's just going to be a basic one for now. It's mostly actually going to be because you know what? No, sorry, scratch that. We're going to skip the dining hall for now because we don't really need it right away. It'll probably be the second thing we build. The next thing that we're going to build is actually going to be a few levels down. So let me grab my cursor, put it where I want to be. Now, one thing you can do is you can designate digging areas and stairway areas across multiple Z levels. So, and all you do to do that is you select where you want it to start, move it to where you want it to end on an X and Y type of axis, and then just change your Z level. Is this changing the size on me again? I think it might be. Yeah, it is. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Now we're back, though. So as I was saying, if you want to designate across multiple Z levels, what you do is you select where you want it to start, go to where you want it to end on an XY, and then you can... again, it's doing it again. Whatever. You can scroll down multiple Z levels to where you want it to end. Just make sure it's in the right place. So we'll go down, say, 6 Z levels. And now as I go back up... Okay, again, it's... Okay. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It keeps resetting my key bindings on me. So we will have to just use the defaults for now, which in this case is shift in the comma and period keys. So as you can see, though, I've designated this over multiple Z levels. And again, I keep going for my mouse because that's what I'm used to using. Okay, I'm going to go back and change those one more time. There we go. Nope, it still refuses to use my damn key bindings. That is very frustrating. Okay. I will figure out why that's happening and get it fixed for the next episode. Anyways, so as we can see, we have our multiple Z levels dug out, or designated, and our dwarves are going to go ahead and start digging those out for us. So we'll give them a few moments to do that. What kind of rock are we in? Shale. Not the best rock in the world, but it'll do for some junk stone to work with. Okay, so basically the way I want to set up my fortress is I want to have the storage room. Then I want to have the... Actually, I'm rethinking this. I was going to say dining room, then 5 levels of living space, but I'm kind of... Oh, hello. Here's something that we have to deal with. This is miasma. And basically, we have something rotting in this room somewhere. Now, what is causing the rot? Let's wait for the miasma to clear, and we'll see what's underneath it. Come on, go away. Oh, I see it already. We have rotten lizard remains. So, we had a pest, a lizard, in our fortress that was killed, and then its remains were never brought outside. So, obviously, there is a problem with one of our stockpiles. Namely, the refuse stockpile. So, we go in here. Why are we not getting rid of body parts? Either that or nobody just took it outside yet. Let's give them a moment. Or do I need to change something on here? I think I might have to. So what we need to do is we need to... I think it's under hauling. Nope, not hauling. Not status. What am I looking for here? I think it's under orders. Here we go. Orders, refuse. Let me see. Dwarves gather refuse. Dwarves ignore refuse from outside. Dwarves gather refuse from outside. Gather vermin remains just to get it all gathered up. Dwarves dump corpses. That's what I want. All right. Let's make sure that'll... Yeah, see, now the keys are kind of working again. I'm still confused. I wonder if it's just setting both the scroll to both change view size as well as X and Z. Okay, can we please dump this damn lizard remains? What am I doing wrong here? Even people who are fairly experienced can get stumped by some of the simplest things. Yeah, they're dumping all that. So they're getting the stuff from outside, so this thing can definitely accept remains. Yeah, bullfrog, roach, so it can definitely accept remains. They're just not collecting it from inside here for some reason. Oh, damn sticky keys. Alright, again, I will figure it out. It might just be that I haven't gotten to hauling it away yet. But that's going to make our dwarves very unhappy, so I'd like for it to get thrown away sooner rather than later. Can we please pick that up? Or did I set this thing? Maybe this is what I've done. Did I set this thing? Oh, yep, here's what I've done. When I was setting this thing up, I set it up incorrectly, and I basically told it that it could have like remains in here. So you know what? I'm going to forbid that, and that should cause them to now haul those remains away. I hope. Somebody, please. Yeah, I think I just saw somebody haul it out. Yep. Okay. Cool. So that's what I did wrong. It's the simple stuff like that that can get you sometimes. So they're going to go ahead. I think there's actually a couple of remains in there, so they're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Anyway, as I was saying, about the design of our fortress, I think we'll actually have the workshop on this level here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start digging out an area to handle our workshops. And to start with, we're just going to have a hallway coming down like this. And then we're going to... I like to set my workshops up in kind of bigger communal rooms based on the workshops that will go in there. Now, I want an area that will be for my stone crafting. Now, stone crafting is going to be very important for Masterwork, and it's one of the first areas that we're going to differentiate Masterwork Dwarf Fortress from regular Dwarf Fortress. But before we can do that, we have to get the room dug out. So what we want is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces for workshops. Then we want an area in the middle for storage, so that's going to be 10, so we go up to 15. And then we're going to want another 5 for more workshop space. Then we're going to go up to 9 to give us room for 3 workshops on each side. Then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll be our entryway. That's the first one we want to get set up. So let's get our miners working away on that. That won't take them too long to dig out, because they are getting rather good at this job. As we wait for them, let's see how our farms are doing. Okay, so we have our first farm set up, and the plump helmets are planted. Now let's get our second farm set up. What were the other seeds that we brought? If I go to stock... And if I go to seeds, why won't you show me what seeds we have? All right then. Another way we can do this, if we go into kitchen, now we can set what they do for each bit of food. Now the big thing, or the reason why I'm using this right now, is because seeds are technically food, and they can be cooked. We're not going to let them cook them, but they can be cooked. We're also going to forbid them from cooking plum helmets. You don't let them cook your plants because then you won't get seeds back. So we have plum helmet spawns. We already have those planted. Or planting, anyway. Now we need quarry bush and pigtails. We're going to start with the pigtails because we can turn those into booze. So if we start in the spring, we'll go down to pigtails. I believe pigtails are another one that can grow all year round as well. Pigtails, pigtails, and pigtails. That'll be more pigtails than we honestly need, but that's okay. We also want to set up our stockpile. So we're going to go custom. We're going to customize it by pressing C and then T. We're going to disable everything just to make sure that we don't get anything in there that we don't want. Now go up to food. You want to enable food, but you want to block all, and then you want to go and enable and permit seeds. That'll give us a seed stockpile that we can set up right in there. Then we go down to here, and we go into settings, and we forbid seeds from being stored here. That will make sure that all the seeds that we have are stored near our farms. Makes it a little easier on our farmers. How is this coming along? Still being dug out. That's good. Okay. We got a message down here that they couldn't plant anything because they need pig's tail spawns. That's just because the thing was being moved when they tried to plant it. Struck more coal. So our metal industry is actually going to get up and running here pretty easily with all this coal that we have around, which is good to see. So we need to wait for them to set all that up, which is going to take them a little bit longer than I wanted to. In the meantime, let's take a look at how the rest of our fortress stands. What do we still have on the wagon? Anything? We have... oh, soap. Why is the soap not being stored down in this one? Did I... oh, you know why? Because soap is considered a bar and block. So we're going to enable that. And that should get somebody moving the soap down into our...
is summer.
Yeah, anyways. That'll get somebody moving the soap down into our other... work brain. Stockpile. Takes a little while to save. Alright, and there we go. Let's get it resumed, because I have it set to save on pause. Alright, so this has been dug out enough that we can start setting up our workshops. So we want to build... oops. I keep using my mouse wheel, and it keeps changing the size of the UI. Alright, so we want to build... with the B key, workshops with the W key, and the first thing we want is a, what is it called again? A mason's workshop. And that we're going to set up right here. We're going to build it out of shale since we have a lot of that. We're actually going to, you know what, one for now will be enough. Now, before somebody will build that though, we need to give somebody the masonry job. And to do that, we need to get our handy-dandy dwarf therapist running. So we need somebody who's decent at masonry. That's also going to be all of our miners. Oh, why do you need diagnosis? That's interesting. All right, one of the other useful aspects of the Dwarf Fortress is it can give you an idea of why they need treatment, if you find the right... tab. It might not actually be added by default. Alright, either way, who is it? It's Methos that seems to be hurt. Let's see if we can find him and find out why he's hurt. Because he shouldn't be. Let me see. That's not the one I wanted. Where's my list of dwarves? Press U for our unit list. Alright, Methos, what's wrong with you there, buddy? So select him, press V to view him, and then press Enter to view his thoughts and preferences. He is very quick to tire and slow to heal. Worshipper. Doesn't seem like there's anything in here that would indicate that he was injured, so I'm not sure what's saying he needs diagnosis. Either way, I'm not going to worry too much about it. He might have come across something that, while he was mining, that hurt him. That is something that can happen every so often. As it is, we can carry on. Now, as I was saying, we need somebody to do our masonry. And it's saying that everybody is equally suited for it. Really? Roles. Mason. There we go. So, Earl would be a decent masonry. Mason. What's his 91 roll at it? Okay, we're going to give it to him. Now, the roles are basically assigned based on a dwarf's traits. Dwarves can be hardworking, they can be lazy, they can like certain objects, like certain work, and basically all of those come together to determine how good a dwarf is at their job. Dwarf Therapist makes it really easy to figure out who the best dwarf is for a specific job by taking all those things and turning them into a fairly convenient number. And that's basically what we're going to use here. So Errol is going to become our mason. And then if we head back over into Dwarf Therapist, he should come down here fairly shortly and build us a mason workshop. Perfect. Now the first thing we want him to do is start constructing some rock blocks. Now there's a handy tool that DF Hack gives us that I'm going to use here, and it's called Workflow. So after I tell him to construct rock blocks and press R to set it to repeat, I can press, I believe it's Control I? No, Control W? What's the workforce hotkey again? One moment. Okay, it should be Control W. Why is this not working? There we go. I don't know why it didn't work before, but now it is. Alright, the workflow plugin is not enabled, so you want to press Y to enable it. Now, what you do is you have to add it to the workflow. So you press A. Come on, add limit. There we go. It's Shift A, sorry. So Shift A to add limit. Then you want blocks of any stone. And then you want to press, Shift R. That'll open up this window where you can enter in the range. And for now, we want to say, 10 to 15 blocks. We're going to up that very soon, but for the time being, we only want a small level, or a small number of blocks. And as I said, this is the areas where things start to differ from vanilla Dwarf Fortress. So now that that's done, we can unpause, and our mason should come and start constructing blocks for us fairly shortly. What we're going to do kind of in the meantime is we're going to set up the stockpile that will hold all the rocks that he'll be using. Now we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to build it basically out to here. How big do we want to make it? The rocks are only going to be... All right, actually, instead of doing that, we're going to use something that is kind of cheating a little bit. And again, it's something that if you're a new player, I suggest you use this. If you're not, then, or as you get more experience, it's the type of thing that is, I find, in my personal opinion, still useful as a quality of life thing, because trying to store a lot of stone can be a bit of a pain. But either way, what you can do is you press N, not N, sorry, zone. What's my zone hotkey again? I. Press I to set up a zone. And then you pick an area and you make it 1 tile wide. And you set that zone up as a garbage dump. And then what you do is you go designate. Where is my cursor in the window over here not moving? Designate. Where is... Set building or item properties. Then you want to dump items, so D. So you do that, and then you select a bunch of rocks, just like so. And what your dwarves will do is they'll come down and they'll start placing them all in this one square. So one square can hold a lot of different rocks. Now what you can then do is you, in the same designation, so D to open up your designations, B to open up your set item properties, and then you press C to reclaim, and you just select your garbage dump, and all the rocks in there are now available to be used, and they're only taking up 1 tile of space. As I said, it's the type of thing, it's very much a quality of life improvement. It's called a Quantum Stockpile. It's the type of thing where I tend not to play with it all the time, but I still use it quite a bit because I don't like having like rocks all over my fort. I think it looks rather ugly. And trying to find a place to store them is a bit of a pain, because to dig out an area where you can store rocks, you have to make more rocks. So the area you end up needing is fairly large. And it becomes a little easier once you start converting them all into blocks, because blocks are a little easier to store. But for right now, we're just going to have to do what we can. And as I said, you just make sure you go in and reclaim everything in there from time to time, so that your dwarfs can access all the rocks in this stockpile. Now we have enough blocks built. We can begin building another workshop that we're going to need. And that is a workshop added by Masterwork, which is the as soon as I find it over here. Should be in manufacturing. Stonecrafter's workshop. That's what one I wanted. Oh, they changed the size of this thing. This used to be a 5x3. Now it's a 3x3, I guess. Alright, that's cool. So we'll put them over here. So we need 2 blocks, which is why we started building the blocks early. So we'll get those building. Now we should have a dwarf. What do we need over here? Oh yes, this needs architecture. Architecture. There we go, kind of. So architecture is one of those things where it doesn't really matter, you know, how skilled a dwarf is at it. It'll still get done. So I tend to give it to, pretty much everybody. That will ensure that it gets done quickly. So now we wait for somebody to come down here and architect the building so that we can actually start using it. Okay, so now we have our Stonecrafter's workshop, and the reason why we wanted this is because it, oh wait, hold on. Did I build the wrong thing? Yes, I did, because I'm an idiot. Build workshops. What I wanted was the furniture workshop, not the Stonecrafters. The Stonecrafters is still useful to have, so I'm not all that upset that I built it, but we didn't need it right away. All the same, good to have, so I'm not going to complain too much. Now we just wait for this thing to get built, because this is the one I actually wanted. Okay, so basically what happened here is when they tried to build the workshop, there was something in the way, so they suspended the construction of it. All you have to do is highlight it, press S, and that will unsuspend the construction, and somebody should be along shortly to take care of it. There we go. All right, this is what I wanted. So with our masonry skill, we can create bedroom sets, dining room sets, graveyard sets. Basically, this is taking a lot of the various items that could only be crafted with, for instance, wood. In the original Dwarf Fortress, you could only make beds out of wood. Well, now you can make them out of stone, which is why having trees on your embark in Masterwork is a little less important than vanilla Dwarf Fortress, and why it's usually one of the first things I want to set up, because I want to get my dwarfs into a decent bedroom pretty quickly. That's all the time we have for this video. Hopefully you guys found this one rather enjoyable, despite all the technical glitches that we encountered. I will do my best to get those resolved before the next episode. So thank you guys very much for watching, and so long.